Hello and welcome to Get Decked, the video series where I build budget Magic the Gathering decks for your casual games night and to introduce friends and family members to the game. So here we are with another series of these Get Decked videos, which I really enjoy making. So I have got the Duskmorn ones coming up. However, the same thing with the Bloomburrow ones that I had is that at the moment, it's very at the time of recording, it's still very close to preview season. So at the moment, prices are still a bit all over the place for the post review frenzy. So I really want to make sure that when I actually do these videos, the deck lists are fine, that they're within the budget rules that I usually set. So in the meantime, we're gonna, like I did last time with Dustborn. With Bloomburrow, we're going to do a little bit of a holding pattern here where I do some more Get Decked videos, so not for the current set, but following a different theme. And last time I did a bunch of tricolour decks, which I think were pretty fun. And this time I thought I would do some decks themed around the Universes Beyond sets, which as a concept, Universes Beyond was not something I was initially behind, but I've sort of mellowed on it a bit now, and it has given us some really, really cool sets and fun cards. So I thought, why not just embrace it and let's just make some decks based around that. So let's just get on with that. And the first one is going to be Immortal Wisdom, which is a blue and green deck. So this is based around the Lord of the Rings set, as you can probably guess from the background and as you saw from the thumbnail. So yeah, let's dive into it. But first, let's remind ourselves of the rules for Get Decked. So these decks are 60 cards. They're designed for 1v1 games. There's no format restrictions, although in these I'm going to do my best to try and stick mostly to using Universes Beyond cards. Mostly commons and uncommons. No cards that cost more than $2 at time recording. Limit ourselves to 12 different non-land cards for a good mix of variety and consistency. Strong themes, low to mid complexity, but just because it's a casual deck doesn't mean it has to be weak or bad. So let's look at the deck list for this deck. So we've got 25 creatures, 2 enchantments, 6 sorceries, 3 instant, 24 land, mana curve off to the side there. And let's just take a look at it and see what it's doing. So first we're going to talk about how we're winning. So it's all based around the blue-green draft archetype, which was in the Lord of the Rings set, which was the Elves, and specifically Scrying, which was really interesting to see, because obviously blue has got Scrying a lot in the past, but green doesn't normally get it, so it was really interesting to see it happen in the Lord of the Rings set for all the green scry effects and also all these different scry payoffs. It was just a really interesting design space, I think, to explore. So most of what we're doing in this deck is scrying, getting a load of benefits to scrying, and kind of just attacking with a bunch of buffed up elves. So we've got 3 Celeborn the Wise, 3 in a green for 3/3. Whenever you attack with 1 or more elves, which is pretty much every creature in the deck, you scry 1. And whenever you scry, which will happen automatically whenever Celeborn attacks anyway, because he's an elf, he gets +1/+1 until end turn for every card you look at while scrying this way. So obviously, if you can scry before combat or during combat, he's going to get the extra +1/+1. So really nice. So he's basically always at least a 4/4 when he attacks, which is fairly okay. And then they say if you can find other ways of scrying, which you can, pretty much every card in the deck lets us scry. Celeborn can get pretty big. Then we've got 3 Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer, 2 in a green for 3/2. Whenever you scry, you choose 1, and Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer gets +1/+1 till end turn, so he always gets +1/+1 like Celeborn. And then he gets one of these abilities, so he either has to be blocked this turn if able, or he can't be blocked by more than one creature he combats this turn. So he gets the kind of the green, like, stalking tiger ability, like, and anti-menace, basically. Glorfindel I think is pretty cool, just being as a sort of a cheaper alternative to Celeborn here. Being able to force a block as well is pretty cool. So it's a shame it can't specifically target a creature to block. It's just he has to be blocked by something, but that's okay. It sort of turns into a bit of like a weird kind of janky removal option. I really like both of these actually. Celeborn's probably my favorite to say. The potential on Celeborn is really great, but of course whenever you scry, means that Glorfindel gets the benefit as well. Anyway. So then we've got 3 Chance Met Elves, 2 in a green for 3/2. Whenever you scry, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, but this only triggers once each turn, which is a bit of a shame. That it doesn't benefit multiple ones like Celeborn, but otherwise I could see it getting pretty out of hand. But I could see that, as I say, pretty much every card in the deck does let us scry. In some way, it either lets us scry or it's a payoff for scrying. This could get, I think, pretty big fairly quickly and kind of start punching up more than its three casting costs would let it. So yeah, this is okay. And then 4 Nimrodel Watcher, which is a card I prefer more than Chance-Met Elves, if I'm honest. So 1 and blue for a 2/1. Whenever you scry, it's +1/+0 to end turn, and it can't be blocked this turn. Again, it only triggers once each turn. So again, scrying once turns it into a 3/1 unblockable, which is pretty good, I think. And again, not, I think, a hard requirement to meet in the deck. So yeah, really like these. Those are all the elves that are going to be doing the main, the attacking, honestly. So we're going to talk about what helps us win. So this is all the scry effects, if I'm perfectly honest. So we've got 3 Elrond Master of Healing. So 2 green and blue for a 4/4, which is an okay stat line anyway. Whenever you scry, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to X type creatures, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. So if you have Elrond out and you've got Celeborn, you attack with Celeborn. Celeborn gets to scry 1 anyway. He gets the +1/+1 for his ability, and then you can just then put a +1/+1 counter on something else from Elrond. As I say, we've got so many effects that let us scry. The fact that he can just keep distributing counters around, I think, is really, really solid. Really, really like that. But there's more, because whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter, it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you can draw a card. So makes it really really horrible choice for your opponent to like target your stuff with any kind of like removal options or its abilities as well, which is really nice. Just gives you a bit of card draw. So yeah, Elrond is really, really nice. I really like Elrond in here. Just a good combination here of making our stuff stronger and benefiting from scrying, and it's just really good card, I think. Then we've got 4 Arwen and Domiel, so green and blue for a 2/2. Whenever you scry, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, so like a smaller version of Elrond's effect. And you pay 4 green or blue to scry to. So very, very, very expensive as a mana sink, but it is repeatable scry, I suppose. But you've got much cheaper ways of doing scrying this. But it's better to have the option and not need it than need it and not have it. So she does sort of have her own little inbuilt combo, I suppose. Arwen's okay, I think, as a 2-drop. And then we've got 3 Galadrim Guide, 3 in the green for a 3/4. When it ends the battlefield, just scry 2. So just very straightforward, scry effect, and on a sort of a decent body as well. So yeah, that's okay. Then we've got 3 Arwen's Gift, 3 in a blue. Costs 1 less to cast if you control 2 or more legendary creatures, which might not be that difficult. We've got a fair number of legendary creatures in here. We've got Celeborn, we've got Glorfindel, we've got Arwen, we've got Elrond. So yeah, maybe not difficult to hit. And you get to scry 2, then draw 2. Which is okay. So if you can get this for 3 mana, I think that's obviously really good, because then it's a better divination. It's not hard to be better than divination, I suppose. But at common, it's okay. I think even at 4, this is kind of okay. Just the fact you get to scry before drawing, I think it's okay. And then 3 Elven Farsight, 1 green. You get to scry 3, reveal the top card of your library if it's a creature card, draw it. So very roundabout way of just kind of drawing a card, I suppose. But the scry 3 is obviously really nice because it goes really well with Elrond. It goes really nice with Celeborn. So getting to scry 3 for any 1 green mana, it's kind of a spell where casting spell actually benefits other stuff rather than like you're doing this really for the scry 3 rather than just drawing a creature card, I suppose. So in a weird way, depending what you got on the board, it's actually kind of like a pump spell. Then we've got 2 Song of Erendil. 3 green and blue. This is from the Commander set, actually. So it's a Saga enchantment. So it starts off with chapter 1. We get to scry 2 and then draw 2 cards. So almost straight away, it's like exactly the same as Arwen's Gift. And then chapter 2 is you create a treasure token and a 2/2 bird creature token. And then finally, at chapter 3, you put a flying creature on flying counter on each creature you control without flying. So this is really nice. If it gets to chapter 3, you give your whole board flying permanently, which is really, really nice, I think. And obviously just helps, especially if you build them up with +1/+1 counters from Elrond. Obviously Celeborn appreciates some sort of evasion as well. So I think a pretty fun little card. And then we've got 2 Rivendell, which has a legendary land. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. As discussed, we've got a fair number in the deck, so not a difficult requirement to meet. Taps give you blue, and you can pay 1 in a blue, tap and scry 2, but only activate only if you control a legendary creature, which is fine because we only want to be scrying 2 when we've got legendary creatures out, because they're the ones that benefit from scrying the most, like Arwen and Elrond and Celeborn, obviously. So really thought it'd be nice to include Rivendell here as a kind of a little splashy rare land, I thought. Then we're going to talk about quickly what stops them winning. So this is like removal options or counter magic, that kind of stuff, things that mess with our opponent's plan. So we've got 2 Elvish Mariner, 2 and a blue for a 3/2. Whenever it attacks, scry 1, so very similar to Celeborn's effect in that regard. But whenever you scry, you tap up to X target non-land permanents, where X is the number of cards you looked at while scrying this way. So again, at the very minimum, when it attacks, you get to tap down something, which gets potentially gets a blocker out of the way. You do have a few ways of doing scrying at instant speed, so you could be doing that on an opponent's turn to stop attacks. And again, stuff like the Elvish Foresight and Arwen's Gift, you're obviously getting those effects, and also the Scry benefits. Then you're tapping stuff down. It's mostly just to get blockers out of the way, I think, which is really fun. So yeah, really fun card I think to include here. And then 3 Shower of Arrows, which is a bit of a utility card. 2 and a green. Instant speed, destroy an artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying, which is it's actually okay because we actually don't have a lot of ways of dealing with flying. And then scry 1 again, just tacked on there to get the benefits. And then quick look at the mana base. So we've got 3 Thornwood Falls, ends battlefield tapped. When it comes in, you gain a life, it gives you green or blue, and then 7 islands and 12 forests. So I'd love to know what you think about this deck, the first of these Universes Beyond Get Deck ones that I'm going to do. If you got any thoughts on it, if there's any cards you think I missed out or any improvements you think could be made, definitely stick a comment down below. I'd love to hear, obviously, people's feedback on this. But I'll be back next time with another Universes Beyond Get Decked. So I hope you join me for that. But until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.